Greetings. Welcome to Tuesday's Tips with the Fergsuon Youth Initiative. I'm Aaron Harris, the Executive Director. This week we're going to be discussing application completion. So I would like to introduce you to our new friend, Larry. Take the floor. Where are you from?
My name's Larry Schweppe. Work for FedEx Express. I've been here for about 20 years, been in management for about 14 years with FedEx. Happy to join you guys today.
Okay, so I guess my first question is, what are some of the common mistakes you see on, I know we're doing a lot of electronic applications, but what are some of the common mistakes you're seeing on these electronic applications?
Just incomplete information is probably the biggest thing. I think that's what we find, and my assumption would be that people are hastily completing them, and as opposed to, I guess, taking their time and having a second source proof their work is probably the best way to avoid some of that.
So you think maybe doing like a tandem application, somebody can kind of look it over?
That's always my best advice, and most often something I do myself is, if I have a document that I have to submit here at work, I'll have somebody review it before I submit it, check it for spelling, grammar, and overall content.
Okay. I'm not sure if your application does, but I know many applications ask for a reference. If this is my first job opportunity, what kind of references can I put down on that application?
To me, the references you want to give are people who are in your corner, if that makes sense. Are you with me?
Okay. So, yeah, I'm with you. Okay. So are you saying like
we froze up for a second there.
Yeah. Are you saying like family and friends? Or are you saying like maybe an ex-principal, ex-teacher?
Ex-principal, ex-teacher, family and friends is okay. Coach. Okay. A lot of young people entering the workforce still have good relationships, strong relationships with people who they've played athletics for over the years, and those type of really people who can speak to the character of the applicant that would be my advice.
Okay. Okay, so as far as again with your application, I know employers are not encouraged to do it, but how important is social media when people are filling out the application? How important is it for them to have like a clean social media profile, or does that matter, do you think?
I think anything that you put out there in the public arena definitely matters.
Okay.
Here at FedEx, especially once you're hired, we have policies and guidelines that employees are expected to follow regarding social media. And it's the general guidelines we give is that if you're responsible and respectful with your online content, the use of social media really wouldn't play a factor in your employment on a positive or a negative role. And it's really just important to note that each individual is personally responsible for any comments and contents that they're making out there on social media. And that could or could not have an impact on an application or an applicant. Here at FedEx, we have a recruiting department that does a lot of the pre-screening for us. So I don't deal directly with a lot of that. But I know there are a lot of companies out there that do use social media, and they get out there and investigate the applicant's background and their online content prior to any further engagement once they receive an application from them.
Okay, you guys are so a couple more questions. You guys are a high traffic area. I've been to your Berkeley site, and there's boxes, there's trucks, there's planes. Is it ever ideal in that type of work environment to have earbuds in?
No, in any time, and that's a firm policy here, especially here at FedEx. Anytime you're in a vehicle, operating equipment, or around sort equipment that is operating, any kind of electronic device, earbuds, a lot of folks wear the horse collar kind of things, and any of that kind of stuff is strictly prohibited. It's a big safety hazard. It's a distraction that would take your focus away from keeping yourself safe in a workplace, like you said, with a lot of moving parts and a lot of things that could that you could step into that you don't need to.
Okay, does FedEx have a policy, or do you, being I don't think you said you're a 14-year employee, do you have a personal policy within yourself as far as dating at the workspace for young people? What would you tell them about dating in the workspace?
FedEx definitely has a policy regarding that. Employees are allowed to date so long as they're not in the same direct chain of management. It's just something you have to be very careful with and make sure that any advance you're making is okay with the other party. Harassment and things like that, while it's not common, could come out of something like that. So you just have to be really careful. You just have to be really careful with how you approach something like that. Dating at work can be complicated, and employees have to be careful to conduct themselves in a professional manner. Inappropriate behavior can't be tolerated in the workplace. And, so FedEx doesn't want to restrict people from developing relationships. You just have to be mindful of everyone else around you and your surroundings, and make sure everything is respectful and professional while you're at work.
Okay. Oh, a lot of states. I know the answer, but again, this is for the youth. A lot of states are legalizing marijuana. As a job applicant for FedEx, what's the policy there? If I'm living in Illinois and I apply at the St. Louis FedEx or so on and so forth.
That's a good question. A lot of our positions are DOT regulated, which falls under U.S. regulations, regardless of what state you're in. And the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Act has not changed and does not recognize state law. So it's federal regulation. Anybody who falls under FMCSA coverage is drug tested, could be subject to random testing depending on their job title and classification and things like that. And FedEx does pre-screen all applicants, regardless of whether they're DOT or not. So I hope that answers your question.
It does. I guess it does. It does. What about personal hygiene? How does personal hygiene maybe make the workplace?
Personal hygiene is really important in the workplace. At a company like FedEx, we deal with the public. Probably 80% of our employees have interaction with our customers on a day-to-day basis. They're expected to be neat and well-groomed and to adhere to our uniform and appearance guidelines. And then outside of that, just good personal hygiene is very important as well. When you work in a building and around and in close contact with other people, it's a great thing to take care of yourself, and hopefully you would appreciate that your peers all have good personal hygiene as well, and it makes the workplace more pleasant for everybody.
Okay. Well, I got two more questions there, and I'll get you out of here.
Okay.
You guys have a location in North County, what's called Berkeley, correct?
We have our airport facility is in Berkeley, so we have airplanes that land there, bring freight in, they unload the packages, put them onto tractor trailers, and then they truck them out to the delivery stations, if you will.
Okay, so if I were a resident of North County and I wanted to apply for an opening at this North County FedEx, what are some things I need to know as far as transportation, bus route, but also where should I go?
Generally, anybody who would like to apply for a job with FedEx, and this is anywhere with FedEx, you're going to go to fedex.com, and there is a careers tab on there, and it's a wonderful resource for somebody who's looking for employment. For instance, here in the St. Louis metropolitan area, I think we have 5 or 6 locations total. So if you have transportation and the ability to move around a little bit within the city and the metropolitan area, you can actually surf the entire job market with FedEx for a geographical area on there. It also allows you the opportunity to build a profile, set up for automated email alerts when openings in certain geographies or job codes, job classes. It's a very useful tool for somebody who's looking for a job, and if you put a little bit of effort in on the front end of it, it'll do the work for you and alert you when we put vacant jobs on there for external hire.
What's the minimum age you guys start hiring at FedEx?
For any driving position, minimum age is 21. That's DOT regulation. And then I think outside of that, if it's a non-driving position, I believe it's 18.
Okay. The 21, the driving positions, are they CDL or is it a different type of class of driver's license that they can use?
All of the above. So in Missouri, any commercial vehicle driver has to get a Missouri Class E license. That's a chauffeur's license, is also what it's commonly referred to as here in Missouri. That is involves going to the Secretary of State's office or the DMV. You take a written test, and once you pass your written test, you have your license. There's no driving test involved in that. We also have CDL positions, which would require driving test and further written test. Some positions we require a hazardous materials endorsement on the license. That's an additional written test to have that added to your license. So it really varies. In most cases, though, in the state of Missouri, for a driving position, you would need a Class E license, or otherwise known as a chauffeur's license.
And last question: what's the starting pay for entry level position? There is just your basic entry level position, 18-year-old without the Class E or CDL.
Okay, I don't want to lie to you. I don't know the answer to that with 100% certainty.
Okay.
But I would guess it's somewhere in the somewhere around $16 an hour, maybe a little bit higher than that.
All right, thank you, Larry, for your time today. Thank you all for tuning in to Tuesday's Tips with the Fergsuon Youth Initiative. Please be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube for more updates. Thank you.